So happy to see everybody in person. How about that? The credit has to go out to the volunteer leaders who understand the challenges, and they had a pretty healthy conversation about whether we should meet in person or if we should keep it virtual. So appreciate all the volunteer leaders who have taken their time down and treasure and poured into the Lewiston HR Association to ensure the success and try to meet the needs of those who are ready to be in person and those who still want to be virtual. So doing our best to meet our membership's needs. So again, thank you to the volunteer leaders. And best friend of mine had a baby during COVID, and his wife didn't leave the house for well over a year. And my wife and his wife were really good friends. They finally had a date night last night for the first time. She contacted my wife and she's like, I'm petrified. I haven't left this house or this property in over a year. So my wife and her had a long conversation, but I feel that as well. So I'm really thankful to be out in person with people for mental health reasons. And I'm just grateful that everybody chose to be courageous and come out. And I hope that there's no negative stuff, so we won't talk about that. But thanks for being here. Truly being here. I was at MyShare. Was it MyShare Volunteer Leadership Summit? And I listened to Dan speak, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Brought up really challenging conversations. So I did my best to talk to this party, and which was a challenge, a real challenge for me. So we met multiple times to talk about this program. And Dan is a graduate from Michigan State and has a degree in organizational communication. So I had asked him if he would be so kind to bless us to come in and talk about, Black Lives Matter, versus mega, masks, no mask, in person, no person, vaccine, no vaccine, all those contentious topics that could lead into the workforce. How do we address that? How do we address that as an HR professional when somebody is, bringing those topics into the workplace? So I'm excited about that. Have high respect for Dan, and thanks for being here. So I will hand it over to Ann, who will do the intro. I hope the food is good, so we'll be here and enjoy the program.
Thank you. Hello and welcome, everybody. Today, our culture is changing. Is your communication style adapting? Is the question. Today, this presentation is by Mr. Daniel Russell Sr. He's the Director of National Corporate Sales for Trion Solutions. About Daniel, his experienced business professional with extensive background in employee administration and business management. He has several years of experience in the banking and finance industry, serving as a VP for Wells Fargo Bank and Wachovia Bank. In addition to his employee administration and banking experience, Dan has also trained and developed business owners and entrepreneurs across all types of business sectors. He is well respected, professional motivational speaker, guiding business owners, entrepreneurs, and young adults with engaging and inspiring content. He is passionate about helping people achieve their dreams and visions, helping their ideas become a reality. And Mr. Russell serves on several boards throughout Michigan. This is awesome. He sits on the board of directors for Winning Futures, a youth mentoring program in Southeast Michigan. He also sits on the board of directors for Hope Against Trafficking, a nonprofit assisting women who have been victims of human trafficking. He's a board member of Troy Rotary and also a board member of Covenant House Detroit, an organization providing housing and support services to youth facing homelessness. Please welcome Mr. Daniel Russell Sr.
Thank you so much for that. How is everybody doing? We are finally out of our offices and houses. This is a great thing.
Yeah.
I know some of you, yes, you can clap for that. That's good. Some of you are a little confused in what you're wearing right now. Okay, yeah, I know it's difficult to get out of our pajamas, and there's a top and a bottom. I know some of us have forgotten that bottoms also go with the suits and the nice tops. But I have got to tell you, I'm so excited because Greg and I talked about this months ago, And I was excited to come speak to you, especially about all the stuff going on. And when he said it was going to be live, I was so excited because this cannot be duplicated. But I promise, for you people still trapped in that box, okay, I'm going to promise, I promise, I'm bringing energy too, okay? So, a ton of stuff to cover here. I like to be interactive. I'd like to have fun with you guys. We're talking about some tough stuff though, okay? Now, it was funny when I was coming up with my slides, and I looked at this one and I said, our culture's changing. Is your communication style adapting? And there's an empty boardroom right there. For many of us in our companies, we lived in that room for a lot of meetings. And for the last 12 months, it has not looked like that anymore. It's this now. It's empty. We're on Zoom calls. We're on Microsoft Teams. Like I was actually having drinks with some people and they said, which one do you like better? Do you like Teams or Zoom or Skype? I'm like, this is really a conversation we're having over drinks right now? I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about any of the three. Okay, I don't like any of them. I like people. I am an extrovert. I like people. So now, here's the challenge for all of us as business owners, as HR professionals. We have to figure out how to connect with our people. So, first thing, there's a lot of things we can all disagree on. I promise you that. However, can we all agree that our culture is changing?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Young adults, whether you're talking about young adults, whether you're talking about just the way people are viewing coming to work anymore. You know, I know there's some people that have talked about, what do you mean I'm coming back to work? We don't have to do that anymore. This company's not doing it. You know, some companies are saying people aren't coming back until 2022, and maybe not at all. Why do I have to come into work? Can you imagine? Think back 5 years ago. Could you imagine you were walking in and telling the owner of your company, or if you are an owner, one of your employees coming in and saying, I'm not coming back. Who's going to work for me? No, you would have looked at him like that, a unicorn was sticking out of the forehead, right? But now this is a common conversation. You've got people that are coming in saying, yeah, you know, I really, I want to do a 4-day work week. And by the way, I want to do that from home. You good with that? You're like, wait, what? And people are now trying to convince you that they can do their job from home. Whether they can or can't, they want to convince you that that is the truth. So, first off, there's a new norm. What's happened in our world in the last 12 months, it's changed so much. Some for the positive, right? We have realized that we can do some things virtually. I don't know if you guys saw, but General Motors is actually selling the downtown building, and they are going to be moving to a hotel environment. So I need to work for a few days, I need to work 3 days, I need to book a room for 3 days. And they come in, they set their stuff up for 3 days, and then they check out. Can you imagine? This is General Motors. This is a pretty big organization, and it's going to be a hotel environment. Okay, so you can check into your office whenever you like. That's kind of new. Everybody has a different level of acceptance. Now, this is really hard for me because I am the biggest hugger in the world. I saw one of my friends today. She came to me the biggest hugger. I'm so excited. It would have broken my heart if she had gone, hi. No, that's me. However, we have to be very respectful of someone that says, hey, I've got a pre-existing condition and I'm glad that everybody feels good about where we're headed, but I'm not out of the woods yet. Right? How can I tell that person, oh, come on? That would be pretty rude, right? But now we have these different levels. We've got these people that they want to hug me, but oh, their mom that they just finally got to see after a year, well, mom hasn't got a shot yet. Ooh, let's not talk about shots. Ooh, you want to bring that up? Man, let's just throw some logs on the fire. We might as well go Black Lives Matter, make America great again. Shots, COVID, you know, where did it come from? It's all there now, okay? So all of a sudden, we got all these people that have different levels of acceptance, and we're trying to communicate amongst all of us. So I put this next line out there just to make you guys think. Communication right now is stronger and weaker than ever. So what do I mean by that? We all in this room, and looking, I don't think there's a single person in this room that probably cannot remember life before a cell phone. Now, we may have been young, but we weren't 5-year-olds with cell phones. I don't think there's anybody in the room that's 5 with a cell phone. However, all 6 of my children, yes, 6, don't fall out of your chair, yes, I have 6, they keep showing up every day. But all 6 of my children had cell phones before 10. That world, we remember how to actually, we would call somebody and maybe leave them a message and then wait until the next day to see if they called us back at our office. What a crazy concept. That email that maybe you sent out at 4 o'clock the day before, you had to wait until the next day when you got in your office to see if the person responded. Not anymore. Right now, it's all at our fingertips. We can do anything. You can do this PowerPoint from your cell phone, right? I was on a plane recently, and I'm like, I had full connectivity. I might as well have been on the ground. I'm messaging people back and forth, sending emails. I mean, we used to be in the air and we at least got 3 hours of peace. Not anymore. I actually tried to throw that out one time to somebody and said, oh, I'm flying, and when I touch down, and they go, well, no, just jump on the Wi-Fi and shoot it to me on the plane. Right. No peace, right? So we have this ability to communicate now, and right now, in the past, it would be you either come to the meeting or you don't get to see me. Well, now they can see me, you can see me. That's an awesome thing. However, we've also taken that to a negative side. What do I mean by that? Okay, well, I've got an issue going on with Greg, and you know what? I'll shoot it with you. I'll shoot it with you. I'm going to talk a little bit about, there's times that that's probably not the right way to do it, because I really should talk to Greg. Maybe read his body language, see that there's some things going on, but I'm just shooting an email. I'll message him. I'll shoot him a text. Text messages, oh my goodness, they can be misinterpreted. I've had people go, damn, why are you missing me? I am. I'm like, did you do something? I'm like, maybe I should be. Okay, but they're like, well, the message you sent me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. They're like, well, it was capitalized. I'm like, I didn't capitalize it. Oh, autocorrect, wanted to capitalize it. They thought that I was trying to emphasize my words. No, I wasn't mad. I just sent the text. I was in a hurry. All of a sudden, someone for hours thought I was mad at them because of autocorrect. Okay, so technology now is also breaking us apart a little bit too. I think we all saw it in COVID, where we had our friends that we connected with them through social media and some other things, but man, we miss just this, right? Looking people in the face and giving somebody a hug. So now we're struggling with that. And then the biggest thing that I'm noticing also is the gap between generations is really getting big. Young adults talking to someone that maybe was born in the early 70s or late 60s, they're struggling to communicate. I'm talking to a lot of CEOs, a lot of executives, and they're saying, I don't know how to communicate with my team. Like, I'm talking about this, they're talking about the gram. And I had a CEO, true story, I wish I could make some of this stuff up because it's great material if I want to become a comedian. The guy said that one of his employees brought up the gram. He went back and said, I think they're doing drugs. It was Instagram, but it's called the gram. And he really thought we were talking about drugs, and he goes, damn, I felt so stupid. He goes, I felt so stupid, because I don't talk to them anymore. So this is what happens, right? All of a sudden, you just don't talk to them. Like they're those different people. I used to joke that the first time I went to Starbucks, it was the most overwhelming experience. I still remember it, it traumatized me. I walked in and asked for coffee. The woman says, dark roast, light roast, French roast, and I'm like, dark is fine. Would you like? And so she's going through all these questions. I'm like, ma'am, coffee, just coffee, cup, coffee, that's it. I mean, I was even fine with no cream and sugar at that point because she keeps asking me questions. We finally got through all that, and then she said, what size? I said large. She said round. I said large. She said tall. I said large. We were having a really bad time. And then I got these people behind me judging me. They're all looking at me like, which roast? Tall. What's the problem? I was confused. I walked out. I thought it was a special call that I was not a part of, and I didn't go back for a while. Now I'm that guy. I have my special drinks, and they write my name on it, I like when they draw a picture. So it takes some time, right? It's all about adapting, okay? All right, that's what we're talking about today. So, leaders, which I'm talking to leaders. Leaders, I'm talking to leaders, and the reason I know you're leaders is because guess what? You don't have to be. You know, there's something else you could be doing with your hour, but instead you were trying to figure out, is there one thing I can take away today that makes me a better leader? Is there something I can help my team with? Can I get one nugget today? Hopefully I can give you more than one, but that's why you're here. Leaders are always trying to develop and get better. That is who we are. We push the limits of not working on what we're good at. See, a lot of times good people, when we're talking about athletes, good athletes focus on what they're good at. Yeah, I can drive to the basket, and I'm really good at that. But my outside shot isn't so good, so I'm just going to keep driving to the basket. The greats will say, I know I'm good at that, let me focus on what I'm weak at. Let me actually get real deep, and it's uncomfortable. Listen, I'm gonna say this to this room right now, people on. I have had some people recently talk to me and say, Dan, I really want to talk to some of my Black employees about what's going on, but I don't know what to say. And it breaks my heart because what they're saying is, I want to help. I want to show I care, but I don't want to offend anybody. So I just don't want to say anything. And I've had to help some people understand that it's okay. I can't expect you to understand what it is to be a Black man. No, not at all. But guess what? I also do not understand what it is to be a woman. I've tried. I'm a wife and 3 daughters. Any advice you guys would like to give me after? Hey, listen, we can share. But I can't understand either. We may have grown up in different areas, cultures, and we can't relate because, well, we don't know. So how do you learn? You ask. You get to talking to people. On the way here today, true story, I wish we might make this up. I was going to be here a half hour earlier, but half hour early, and Dan got home. I think this is all on social media and everything else right now. Dan gets pulled over. And right there. Okay. Ooh. I'm ready to text Greg and go. Guy walks up. License, registration, CPI, I hand it all to him, 10 and 2. Maybe small piece of it. More because I didn't want to let Greg down today, all of you. But the guy was the coolest guy in the world. Guy goes, you know how fast you were going? I'm not going to say because this is recorded. Super precious. I'm not going to bring up what the speed was. But I said, really? I was going that fast? I said, hey, I'm actually getting ready to speak today. And he goes, hey, you're being Russell, aren't you? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be really good or really bad. Yes. And he goes, I've actually heard you speak before. What are you talking about today? Jaw drops. I'm like, oh, communication styles and that thing. He goes, all right, be right back. 2 minutes later, I'm back on the road. I'm like, that's not what people are talking about on social media, people. But it happens every day. There are cool cops everywhere. But guess what? It happens on a daily basis. There's good people, there's bad people. We got to learn how to communicate with all people. So, as we're trying to grow and adapt, I'm going to say what some people don't want to say. As HR professionals and business owners, some of you are saying, wait, this is not what I signed up for. When I was in college, this is not what I was going to school for. When I started my business, I didn't want to get in the business of managing how people feel about Black Lives Matter, how people feel about getting COVID tested. No, I wanted to make a widget. I got really good at making widgets, so I kept making widgets, and then people bought my widgets, and I loved selling my widgets because it made me money. I didn't want to do this. HR professionals are going, wait a minute, no, we're going to hire, we're going to get talent, we're going to help, we're going to train, it's going to be awesome, we are people, right? And then this. Now, we're counselors, we're financial advisors, I mean, come on, HR people, talk to me. You guys know that people walk in with their 401k stuff and they go, what am I supposed to pick here? So now you're a financial advisor. Congratulations, you didn't even know you went to school for that, but yes, you did. Right? All of a sudden, these challenges keep getting thrown at you, and you're saying, is this what I signed up for? For a lot of people, they're saying no. Next, just because they're different, why do we have to change? This one is a tough one, guys. We are all very comfortable with who we are. A lot of what's gone on in the last 12 months has stretched that. I've actually had friends that I've had for years, call me up and say, Dan, I just want to apologize. For what? And they said, well, everything that Black people have gone through, and I really want to apologize, and I'm not. You have nothing to apologize to me for. You've been my friend. We are great friends. You've never done anything to me or my family. And why are you apologizing? They said, I just feel so bad. I said, listen, I understand that we as people, as humankind, we hurt. We have empathy for others. We don't like to see other people hurt. But operating in guilt when it's not something we've done, that's where that line gets really, really blurred. So we're not trying to operate in guilt, but we are trying to operate and say we have the opportunity to make a difference, so let's do it. So when we look at something like other people are different, so why do I have to change? Well, again, it goes back to being a real leader. Great leaders understand that we don't always have it right. There may be a way to get better. And what we did yesterday may have worked, but it may not today. That's the difference. So then we're going to talk about, is it really your responsibility? There's a lot of people that have just said, nope, I don't want to touch it. I'm not touching the inside. In my world, with my clients, oh my goodness, people tried to ask me recently. So, hey, did you get your test? You get your test, right? I mean, you're going to get your test. Like, yeah, slow down there, Stevie. There's a lot of people that don't feel comfortable yet. Some people are scared. And I've watched this interaction where people, I got my test, I got my second shot yesterday. You're getting yours, right? And I've watched other people just clam up because they don't feel comfortable yet. And this is happening in an office. And guess what? That may hit your desk as the HR professional. Because now that person has created an uncomfortable work environment. Okay? Another challenge. And then the thing that I'm seeing a lot of people also struggle with is they're going, man, we've been in business 20 years. Like, well, we're going to start changing now. We're going to change our whole culture. Well, it's not that we're going to change completely, but we're going to develop. We're going to adapt. And I think we all know, you can all think about your individual companies, the day they started and the way you operate today, it's different. You learn, you develop, you got better, you made some mistakes, and little by little, you improve. So we can change, and it's never too late to change. So now, there's been a lot of talk. Okay? There's been a lot of social media stuff, and people blacked out posts, and people did, we support, you've got the NBA, the NFL, MLB, everybody's got the slogans and everything that they're doing, but at a certain point, people are just looking for action. Some of your employees, some of your team members are saying, okay, all this stuff is great. What are we doing? Are we changing anything, or are we just saying stuff? So when people at me come speak, or they bring me in to talk to their company, we start talking about action. And we don't want to talk about just the slogans anymore. Slogans are good, that's fine. But now put some action behind it, because otherwise you lose your team. And then your team starts to think, you're really not changing. You came out, you said something, you really didn't do anything about it, so you really didn't care. You just didn't look good. Say the right thing. But there's a lot of people that really want to help. I had an organization that I had a chance to speak to on the west side of Michigan. And they had a valid challenge. They said, Dan, we're trying to promote diversity and inclusion, but there's one problem. I said, what's that? They said, there are no minorities that live in our area. Like, no. I said, okay, so that's probably a challenge. You can't just go grab the first random minority you see at the gas station and say, you're hired. You're an engineer. You didn't go to school? No, that's all good. Come on. You're an engineer now. No, it doesn't work that way. So they said, Dan, I want to help. I want to do something, but I can put job posts on all day and nobody is applying. How do I change it? And we had to talk about, them accepting that focusing on diversity and inclusion for their company may not look the same as somebody else's company. Theirs may be that they're doing a job shadow, they're doing a fair, they're opening up the opportunity for people from the outside community to maybe come in and see their company and see what some of these jobs are like. Maybe getting down to a high school level, an internship program, a STEM program. And then maybe, I've had some people who said, "Dan, we don't have the resources to even do that." Great. Maybe you just are looking to donate and help. Even if you go to your staff and say, "Hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to sponsor a STEM program for a Northern Michigan school and an inner city school." Okay, you were still part of the solution. There is no perfect way to do any of this. So now, let's talk more action. Now, you guys are all looking at this going, "Dan, did you really put this assessment out there?" Yeah, sure did. All of us have done it. We have. Listen, I don't particularly like the DISC test or profile test because they're usually going to. That's why I don't like them. I accidentally one time brought one of my profile tests home. My wife is going to watch this video, so I have to tell her exactly how it went down. She's sitting in the kitchen, she's flipping through, kind of giggling to herself. What are you laughing about? She was, "This thing is good." Yeah, no, I don't even know if we're going to use it. I don't think it's very accurate. She goes, "Oh no, it's spot on." No, it said I'm stubborn. She goes, "No, yeah, I'm not stubborn." She goes, "Dan, you kind of," I go, "I'm not stubborn." And then I went, "I'm stubborn." Okay, now, but in an interview, you're never going to bring that up. But at the end of the test, it says, if you're looking for a leader, someone to drive your organization, someone to lead your organization, you want stubborn. A lot of us in this room probably know a little bit of that, right? A leader is not, "We're going to go take the hill." No, we're not. Okay, maybe we're not. No, we're going to go take the hill. There's 1,000 soldiers up there. All right, let's go. We're going. We're driven. We're stubborn. Sometimes a little stupid, but we're stubborn. Okay, that's how I'm built. But I did not like the fact that the profile test could figure that out from a few questions. Did not like it at all. When I look at things like this, and it's like the dominant influencer, conscientious, steady. Listen, we all want to look at these and go, I'm steady. I can cooperate. I relaxed once, 6 months ago. Pretty sure it was that. Yeah. No, I relaxed. I don't even know I relaxed. Right? Patient, support-oriented, friendly, thorough. Who doesn't want to be that person deep down inside? And you may have a couple of those individual traits, but guess what? If you're up there, you're not down there. It's just how it works. You may have a couple glimpses of others, but that's really how it is. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this. Let's see, I like participation. And somebody called me out on social media about not wanting to be called those people I got to ask a question to today. So I said on social media, she'd be the first person to go. So Andrew, why don't you come on up real quick? Why don't you come on? Sit right here. Come on up.
Shut right up.
So, I want you to sit here. You get to sit here, and you are here, and we're social distance still, and we'll pass on. So, listen, we're interacting with Danielle and Diamond.
Oh.
Names have been changed to protect the innocent. Okay? All right. So, we're going to talk about how good and bad on how to deal with the dominant. Now, over here, this is HR person number 2. Who's maybe going to give us an example of how not to do some of these things. So we're going to talk about what she's going to do. And then over here, we've got HR professional number 1 who doesn't quite by the book. Okay. So, interacting with a dominant. Number 1, we want to try to get right down to business. Stay on topic. Be prepared to field follow-up questions on the spot so you can answer with confidence. Expect them to be decisive and fairly blunt. Danielle the dominant, she's blunt, okay? Right to the point. Now, trying to avoid taking their bluntness, follow-up questions, and impatience. Her personally, Martin is acting you, making promises she can't deliver on, and expecting them to open up about the weekend plans. Because dominants are often accomplished, excitable, and love a good challenge. So, Danielle the dominant has come to her HR office and said she's a little concerned about the change in the commission structure. Because the last time the commission structure got changed, somehow she was supposed to make more money, but she didn't. And she says that HR professional number one.
Last time you changed the commission structure, I got screwed out of my bonus.
She was very upset. HR professional number one took a moment, listened to her, thought about it, and responded.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That wasn't the intention of the restructuring.
And so then she said, well, what are we going to do about this one? How is it going to work? And he responded with facts. He talked about exactly why they were making the change, what could be expected, and then said he was going to get some clarification on the commission structure in writing and get that to her no later than Friday. Well done, HR professional. That same question though was posed to HR professional number two, who didn't have quite all the answers, and she said,
I don't know, I didn't vote that way anyway.
oh, so it's not her problem, she's avoiding it, and, yeah. So Danielle the dominant said, well, I need some answers, how is this going to affect my commission? HR professional number two said,
Not my problem.
not my problem. Why are you yelling at me? And I mean, why are you in my office about this? I'm not the one that puts together commission structures. I'm not, like, why? Listen, I told you last time, Danielle, when this changed, this is not me. Okay, I am not responsible for this. Danielle, the office, and got immediately on Indeed, looking for a new job because she knew this time again she was going to get screwed up in the commission. Great job. All right, good work. Okay. So, Danielle the dominant, we have these people in our office. They're very driven, they're very focused, they come in. The last thing they want is BS. They don't want you to go around, they don't want you to beat around the bush, they don't want a false answer, they don't want an answer that's not going to happen on time. It happens every single time. Okay? Now, the influencer. I need 3 new victims. We'll take you right there, just because I love that suit. Okay. And right here, the brown polka dots, look at this one. See, look, she's like, oh, no, not me, yes, you. And right there, pull all 3 guys up there. Oh, he's smart, he's like, I'm saying, so, we're now interacting with Ivan, the influencer. Again, things have been changed to protect the innocent. The thing we want to try to do, HR professional number one, always gets it right over there. We try to approach them in a casual manner. Let your sense of humor show a little bit. Put details and facts in writing for them to revert back to after a verbal conversation first. Expect them to be a little too optimistic about ideas as well as their own abilities and the abilities of those around them. Avoid talking down to them. You're going to get this. Try to confine the conversation to stifle their freedom to express ideas and emotions and expect them to dive deep into the details with you. Ivan, he's an influencer, he strives to be emotionally honest and quick to trust those people around him. So, Ivan comes into the office and Ivan says, I just heard about this new diversity and inclusion stuff going on, and I want to bring this into the company. I think it's a great idea. I want to head it up. I think we can start a group. I think we can really take on all this stuff. I think we can sponsor kids. We can send kids to college. It's going to be awesome. I think we can really make a difference. Yes, he's excited. Ivan is on fire. HR professional number one says,
I think that's a great idea, although you follow up with the details.
Ivan the influencer is inspired. He feels like a valued member of the team. He's inspired to go home and put these things on paper and get them back to her instantly so we together can change the world. That same conversation happened with HR professional number 2. And when he walked in, he had this big beard that he had again on, and he said, first thing, and all that silliness. Why do we want to do that? And then he says,
Okay, possible.
possibly. I think the influencer is confused by that word. He doesn't understand what that means. Possibly has no real meaning to him. He's very confused. Then he goes on to say, I mean, really, people believe in that stuff either. I mean, come on, what are we gonna do? We're gonna change everything. I mean, it's all blown out of proportion, anyways. It's gonna go over as another social media hoax. I mean, all these people put all this stuff out there, and stuff doesn't really happen. I mean, Ivan, we need to get focused on what we're here to do, right? I mean, you understand, right? I mean, and I'm back to the cube, all right, good stuff, Ivan. All right, thanks, buddy. Yeah, good work, right, go team. All right. Ivan not only got on Indeed, but Ivan decided he wanted to go directly to the competitor and apply for a job there because he wants to take the company down after that insult. Because he was spoken down to, he felt belittled, and he felt like his idea didn't even matter. Good work, you did awesome. All right. Now listen, some of this a little silly, but you guys know what I'm talking about here. We've had interactions with clients that have had one employee standing with a Black Lives Matter t-shirt and somebody else with a Make America Great hat in the same little office area. And they said it was like a Western show. Yes. It's gonna happen. Here's where it happens most. On social media. Because everybody follows each other. And then Greg puts out a post that I go, you believe Greg believes in that? I knew it. Man, the way he talks to me in the office, there's always been a little something about it I don't like. And I'm talking to her, and I'm telling her, I mean, you know. She's like, wait a minute here. Do I agree with Dan? Because if I agree with Dan, I'm not saying that Greg is a piece of poop. If I don't agree with Dan, I'm saying that I don't hear him and I don't acknowledge that he believes that his culture has been offended. Well, wait a minute, we're on some slippery slope right now. And they're sitting in your office saying, yeah, I don't feel comfortable. I don't think he should be able to wear this stuff. I can wear mine, but he can't wear his. So now, guess what, HR professionals? We become the calling police too. We're back in elementary school. Now, let me wear that. Okay, or can we wear it? Okay, what if we tag something or we like a post? I mean, folks, we've seen people, high-level executives, getting fired from Fortune 500 companies because they retweeted something. They didn't even type it, they just retweeted it, or they liked it. All of a sudden, these challenges are popping up, and people are going, I don't know how to handle this, and I don't want to handle it. So let me give you a couple things here. Number one, you want to take the time to hear the other individual. Hear them first. Everybody is so paranoid now and scared to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. We're trying to hurry up and throw out the right thing. Yes, no, you're right. He should not wear that. You're right. And I'm very sorry that offended you. Wait a minute. Whoa. What, you're telling me Greg can't wear a hat? Greg can wear a hat. Greg didn't say anything offensive. I mean, I want you guys to think about this. You say make America great again and you can piss off a bunch of people. Why? What's wrong with the statement? Well, maybe they don't like you made the statement, but what's wrong with the statement? America's an awesome place. I want to keep making it awesome every day. But that's what starts to happen. One person is attached to a slogan, and then that slogan stands for so many different things. It's no different than when you start to say, yeah, this COVID stuff is real stuff. Yeah, I'll tell you what, where that started and the way this whole thing went down, and you're like, whoa, I was just talking about it in my neighborhood last 12 months. Did not want to go on a political roller coaster. No, This UK variant, that's it, you know what, it's all a conspiracy. We all, listen, I know you guys have those friends too. I cannot be the only person in this room that has got friends that if you sit down with them, they got it all figured out. They'll tell you where it started. Started in the lab, it's conspiracy, it's gonna take us all out. And they know, because they read it on social media. I mean, come on, but they get fired up. In the last 12 months, I have never seen people so passionate about their opinion and feeling the need that they can just say anything to anyone, anywhere. We haven't seen anything like this in years. But people are very bold now. And then through social media and some other things, they feel like they can say whatever they want. And guess what? There's something called freedom of speech. But now, how does your organization deal with that? How do you the number one thing to say is, as HR professionals, we are tasked with a very difficult thing. We have to sit down with ownership, board of directors, other team members, and say, what's our real objective here? Before the issue comes into your office. You can't be reactive. You have to be proactive. You have to have a plan. You have to know what is the stance of the company. So if the company says, if it's on social media, it's not speaking about our company, people are allowed to say whatever they want to say. Well, then you've got your marching orders. Somebody comes in complaining about social media, and you say, well, listen, it's company policy, we really don't get involved in that. But Greg, I definitely understand where you're coming from. You know, if you like Greg, I'd be more than happy to talk to him. Maybe if you guys would like to have a meeting together so we can discuss some of that, I'd be happy to do that if that would make you feel better. You acknowledge. You didn't talk down to him. You didn't make him feel like his beef was out of the question. No, you heard him. You listened to him. You spoke about the company stance and then said, if you'd like me to arrange something because this is making you uncomfortable, I can do that. Most likely, Greg's going to go, no. You got the bet. Got to get it off his chest. But we can't make people like each other. We can't. We can't make people get along. You know, political things, you're never going to find people that are just going to agree. It's tough. You know, when people get really fired up, religion, that's another thing. Okay, you don't touch those two things. But often it comes into the office. Now, I promise you, we're volunteers. I know you guys are all getting excited. You respect because you started to do the numbers. I'm just very confident, I promise I won't call anybody else. But after Ivan the influencer, we had Steady Eddie. Listen, active listening. Active listening. What I just did with Greg, confirm that you heard what they said. Summarize it back. That is a very, very important fact. I haven't learned how to do that. I'm always, as a public speaker and as somebody who I think communicates pretty well, I learned something years ago that somebody said, Dan, you're a great speaker, but you're a horrible communicator. My jaw hit the ground. I wanted to go. People pay me to speak. I do it really well. They hurt my feelings. But I asked, why do you say that? They said, Dan, when you get up and speak, it's awesome. But when you give people sometimes, you talk too much. You don't listen. Truth. So I had to say consciously, wow, I don't want people to feel that way. I'm excited. I like talking to people. I love hearing about it. But have you ever had that person that you're having a conversation with them and you say, sorry, I'm calling somebody, wait a minute. What are you doing this weekend? And she says,
Yeah, no plans.
no plans? Oh my goodness. Oh, well, get ready to, when the weather gets nice, you guys got any trips planned or anything? Camping? I love camping. You know what? I go camping all the time. I take my kids camping. And, we go to this place up in Grand Lake and really cool place. And, we actually got a camper. Me and my 6 kids, we like doing that. She's like, I didn't ask you any of that. In fact, I tried to get out of the conversation when I said I had no plans this weekend. Yes, you do. You're going to do something this weekend. You just don't want to tell me. Okay? But guess what? I can't listen. You going on any vacation soon? Camping? Ah, yeah, me too. Let's talk about me. I didn't ask her anything about her. Listen, a lot of us have had those bad first dates with somebody where they just are going on about them and going, this is fantastic. Now, quickly can I escape? Okay? Listen, guys, the biggest thing right now for us as we are going through this, meet people where they are. That's how we bridge the communication gap. Let's utilize technology to connect with people, not to avoid connections. Virtual office spaces have a challenge of their own. For many people, it's the only interaction they have with the outside world, and now that's been taken from them. Depression is at the highest rates ever, suicide at the highest rates ever. There are a lot of challenges that people are having from home. Us not connecting with them is not healthy. You guys are going to love this one. Do not email or don't call when an email is sufficient. This is the reverse. Don't bother Greg. He's trying to say, yeah, Dan, can you just shoot that over to me in an email? Yeah, Greg, I just wanted to call you. And he's like, yeah, you just said send an email. And yes, then why are we still talking? If an email is sufficient, summarize it, send an email. You're done. Go. Don't call them. Don't email when it's not that simple. When you need some interaction back and forth, that person may be working from home. It's not the time to send an email. Because their response may be immediate, and we may need to address what that response is. One of my favorites, don't have a meeting to discuss the meeting about the meeting. You know, some of you maybe been a part of some of those. I'm not going to say you called those meetings, but you might have been a part of it. Well, let's do a Zoom, and we'll talk about what we talked about yesterday and recap Monday's Zoom. Because you're so used to being around people, you just feel like, I gotta do it. I have to. Listen, you don't have to. You really don't have to. Sometimes we don't need a meeting to talk about anything about meeting. We do not have to agree to effectively communicate. Be able to grasp that. You don't have to believe them or agree with them to still be able to communicate properly. It's not always right and wrong. Sometimes it's just different. You may see things one way, you may see something different, and she may say, that's different from how I think. It's not right or wrong. Some listen to respond, some listen to learn, and some listen to understand. Evaluate today. If there's one thing you walk away with, focus on that one thing. When someone's speaking to you in a conversation, one of your team members, when you're listening to them, what are you listening for? Are you listening to actually hear them out learn something? Are you listening for, yes, okay, he said what I wanted to say. Yeah, it can't be straight. Yeah, I got that one. Or am I listening to understand? Do I really want to walk away and say, hey, I know it? All right, I understand the change. I understand what's going. Strong communication creates unity within any organization. So the last thing I'm leave you with right now is, this is an old quote. I'm a quote guy. I love pulling out quotes. I had to go back to the 1800s for this one. So they still have this challenge in the 1800s, which allows us to know how far we've come. It's not the strongest of species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. Charles Darwin. So we have to be willing to accept that we have to adapt. We fall behind if we don't. We have to be willing to accept that we don't agree with everybody, and that's okay. But we cannot back down from the challenge of communicating. And find other resources within your organization, other HR professionals that you say, hey, how are you handling this? Here's a challenge that I've had, because we grow stronger together when we take the gloves off and just say, this is a tough one, and I didn't learn this in school. And I don't have a friend that I can talk to about this. Pick up the phone, call someone. I will actually volunteer for myself to you. I've had several people call and say, Dan, I I don't even know, should I address this person as African American or Black, or should I even bring up the Native Americans working for us too, and then what about Indian Americans, and then should I touch the gay lesbian thing right now? I don't know. I'm like, okay, slow down. What are we trying to accomplish? So again, don't be afraid to reach out to partners and resources because there's a lot of value there. So I promise Greg, I will leave 10 minutes for you guys to throw as many curveballs, but I don't think we get 10. We get 3.5, possibly 4, no more than 5. We're cutting it off at 6. At 7, you guys can turn off. Okay, just joking. So, any question, nothing is off limits or counts. I'm open to any of the above. Greg, so you guys will. All right, Greg, you too.
How do you respond if the person says to you, silence is violence?
Silence is violence. There's a lot of people that feel that right now. And what I will say is, first, hear it. Say, well, what do you mean by that? Because what did they just approach you with? A slogan. What does that mean to you, right? Well, I don't think that we as an organization are doing anything to really help. Yeah, no, it's really sad what's going on right now, Greg. Breaks my heart. And, I know us as an organization, we've been talking about some things that we can do to help. I would love to have you as part of that conversation. If you have some ideas or some things that you've heard out there, ways that people are actually making a difference and not just talking about this, we'd be open to hearing it. I'd love to discuss it. I didn't fight women. Silence is violence. Well, some people say, well, doing nothing, well, you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Okay, but you know what? I would also come back and say to that same person, can I tell you how many times on Facebook recently, in the last year, you've seen somebody come out and say, all lives matter, blue lives matter, just supporting people or police, and the next thing you know, you've got a stream of people telling them that they're racist. I'll raise my hand to say I've seen it. I'm not going to ask you guys to do it, but a lot of us saw it. I had one woman personally say to me, I didn't mean to offend anybody, and I don't understand why. And Greg has heard me make this statement. I will make it quickly for you guys. I explained it this way. When some people are talking about, let's say, Black Lives Matter, as an example, they are not trying to say that all lives do not matter. They are not trying to say that blue lives do not matter. They are trying to talk about one specific issue. It would be like all of us going to a breast cancer rally today. We're out there supporting breast cancer, and if somebody walks up and says, what about pancreatic cancer? My dad died of liver cancer. Throat cancer matters too. We would all be at a breast cancer rally going, yeah, sure, they matter. But today we're talking about this. That's the challenge. Instead of being willing to argue with Greg, oh, Greg, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. It's very bothersome to me too. How do you think we can help? Put the ball back in their court. Unfortunately, most will not come back to you with anything. But you heard him. Greg doesn't walk out of there thinking you didn't listen to him, you disregarded his feelings. You put the ball back in his court and said, hey, we're looking to do something too. If you got some ideas, let's put them together. Let's run them. Let's take some accountability. Let's not just point fingers. That's a great question.
Thanks, Dave.
Any other questions or comments? That was good though. She had a good one. So, guys, what I'm going to say to you is this. I'm going to commit you. Before I sign up, I'm going to commit you because when you pick different things to sign up for, and I know everybody wants to do together, here's the thing. Don't stop doing this. Do not stop trying to figure out how to be a better communicator, a better leader, how to address these issues, how to attack it. I commend Greg and the team because these are issues people don't want to touch. They go, I don't want to go out there on a limb. You guys meeting today live. You probably offended some people. It's okay. You're eventually going to do it. Everybody's going to. Whether it's this month, next month, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, it's going to happen. Some people are going to take the first step and be the pioneers and the leaders. Others are going to wait a while, and both are okay. What we're gonna say is, don't stop addressing the challenges, because if we stop as leaders in the community, no change will happen, because people are waiting for us to make things. Thank you guys for having me out today.